And can you imagine putting your own child in a homeless shelter? I could never imagine.
For years, Maryland housed foster children in homeless shelters and hotels, but a teen's death has the state looking deeper into how it cares for these children. Hello everyone, I'm Jason Newton. Welcome to 11 TV Hill. Last year, 16-year-old Kanaiyah Ward died by suicide in a Baltimore hotel. At the time, the foster child was under the custody of Maryland's Department of Human Services. Now, Kanaiyah's law is closer to passing Maryland's General Assembly. As of this taping, the bill is being heard in the House of Delegates. The law is intended to strengthen protections for children in foster care. Now, earlier this week, WBAL-TV 11 News investigated Maryland's broken foster care system, and we found just how widespread the problem was of placing children at those hotels and homeless shelters. Our Tommie Clark shares what records reveal from our Public Information Act request and the state action aimed at making recent reforms permanent to protect children.
The fact that we're having to pass legislation to prohibit those practices is something that none of us could have ever conceived.
Hotels, offices, hospital overstays, and homeless shelters. All places where children in Maryland's foster care system have been placed by the Department of Human Services. It wasn't until the death of 16-year-old Kanaiyah Ward and a scathing audit of DHS that an October 2025 directive ordered the agency end the practice. Delegate Mike Griffith, who went through the foster care system as a child himself, introduced Kanaiyah's law to make those changes permanent.
I know what it's like to be in the foster care system, but I also know what it's like having the adults in the system not make you feel like a priority.
Kanaiyah died by suicide in a hotel room last September. The DHS investigation places negligence on a contracted firm hired to look after the teenager.
Kanaiyah was allowed to be in this room with a bottle of over 350 pills of Benadryl.
Griffith's bill is now part of a package he calls the most robust foster care reform legislation the Maryland General Assembly has ever seen, aimed at strengthening safety standards in homes children are sent to. Along with background checks, the legislation prohibits DHS from placing them in unlicensed settings such as hotels and homeless shelters. It would also create an ombudsman to be an independent advocate for children. Now, our Maryland Public Information Act request reveals that from January 2023 to December 2025, 34 youth stayed at youth shelters in Maryland. We're now sharing this number with Delegate Griffith and Maryland Legal Aid, which represents children in the system. As someone who's spearheading this legislation, what do you think of that number?
Well, for me, as many concerns as I've had for basically my entire life around DHS and the social services system, that even shocks me.
It is surprising, and it's really unacceptable.
According to Maryland Legal Aid, children were placed in shelters alongside adults, not just other youth, such as in the traumatizing experience of a 17-year-old girl disclosed to 11 News Investigates.
This teenage girl was sexually assaulted. It did not occur in her home. She went to the hospital, and her parents did not come to retrieve her when it was time for her discharge. Immediately after being released from the hospital, she was placed in a homeless shelter.
Their team had to file an emergency motion, and ultimately, the court allowed the girl to return home. Erica Lamont blames a lack of adequate placements to meet the need, staffing and funding challenges, coordination shortfalls between agencies, and she says when under pressure, inappropriate arrangements often become the easiest option.
There are going to be times when there is an emergency situation and there is no placement available. We need to plan for that now.
We came in knowing that that the state had some real challenges around placement. Having the appropriate placement.
Senior advisor to the DHS Secretary, Stephen Liggett-Creel, says they've been aware of and working on the placement issue long before this administration, and their reform goes beyond what's been reported.
As we realized that, we immediately started to say, let's get a grasp of this, and we understood coming in that there were kids having to utilize these unlicensed settings, hotels, shelters, because we didn't have the right placements for them.
He says to end the practice, DHS has adjusted rates to support providers, created new expectations for those providers that in turn expands capacity, And they've moved to a kin model, increasing placements with family members.
That's really where I see and am excited about how we push that, continue to support that, maintain families, and then build a provider network that can serve the child when they need to, and then ultimately achieve that permanency.
Liggett-Creel says there's more work to be done. Lamont says it'll take multi-agency involvement to see a real systemic shift. And at the same time, an individualized approach to each child's unique case.
The front and the foremost are these children, and we should never forget that.
For 11 News Investigates in Baltimore, I'm Tommie Clark.
And Tommie joins us now. You got an answer to a question I think we all wonder, and that's how kids are placed in the system. You asked that of DHS.
Yes, we wanted to know step by step, how does this work? How is this happening?
Sure.
So when it comes to this, they were saying how, there is a lot of steps that go into it. It starts with trying to make sure they stay with the family.
Yeah.
If they cannot stay with the family, it's not safe, they go with another family member. This is this kin model that I mentioned in the story. They want them to stay with some type of family if possible. If that is not safe, not possible, that is when they move to foster homes.
Okay.
A family that opens their home. And if the kiddos, they need specialized services, then they go to a provider. Now, the bottom tier is these group homes.
Okay.
That is what's still happening. They're going to group
Sure.
homes if they need to, but that is also where the hotels and the homeless
okay.
shelters and the offices came in, and that is what is no longer happening.
That was the bottom tier, and that's gone now.
Correct.
Tell me about the perception of and the acceptance, I guess, of Kanaiyah's law. What were the thoughts there?
So when it comes to DHS, we're so glad they agreed to sit down with us
Sure.
and really open up
That's
about
huge.
this. Yes, that's huge. And they were saying they think this is a no-brainer. They're on board to make these changes permanent. So everyone's in agreement here. This change needs to happen. They say this is going to help them get to where they need to be, but there's much more work to be done, and we're all aware of this.
Nice.